Recently, an Ukrainian FP-5 Flamingo missile struck the VNIIIR-PROGRESS plant in Cheboksary, Chuvasia, currently Russia. The factory produces various products for the Russian military, such as the anti-jamming module Komet for Russian UAVs, cruise and ballistic missiles. President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy said that as part of Operation Deep Strike, the defense forces launched F-5 Flamingo missiles. The target, located 1,500 kilometers away, produced navigation equipment for the Russian army. F-5 Flamingo cruise missiles were used for this purpose, covering a distance of over 1,500 kilometers. According to the president, the strikes were a response to Russian attacks and part of a strategy to pressure the enemy. The operation took place at night and was aimed at critically important facilities of the Russian military-industrial complex. These are enterprises that ensure the functioning of military equipment. The hit enterprise produced products used in various types of weaponry. This facility manufactured relay protection systems, automation, low-voltage equipment, as well as navigation elements for the Navy, the missile industry, aviation, and armored vehicles, the president added. Zelenskyy emphasized that Ukrainian missiles are capable of hitting targets at a significant distance. Ukrainian Flamingos covered more than 1,500 kilometers, the head of state noted. According to him, this demonstrates the development of Ukraine's long-range capabilities and the ability to strike key enemy facilities. The president emphasized that such operations are not only military but also political signals for Russia. Russia must end its war and move to real diplomacy. We have made our proposal. Glory to Ukraine, Zelenskyy emphasized. Ukrainska Pravda has analyzed every attack using Flamingo missiles documented in open sources, as well as satellite imagery after strikes. The analysis used data from the CyberBoroshno, Exilenova and Dnipro OSINT communities. Open sources confirm a total of 7 verified attacks using Flamingo missiles. Firepoint chief designer Dennis Steilerman occasionally publishes FP-5 launch videos on his X account. These posts correlate with official reports from Ukraine's defense forces about the use of Flamingo, as well as Russian media posts and images. However, launch data alone is not sufficient. A missile must not only reach its target but also hit it. To assess accuracy, we compared military reports with satellite imagery, which allows for a relatively precise evaluation of strike results. In total, 23 launched Flamingo cruise missiles have been captured in available footage. Ukrainian OSINT analysts identified that 6 reached their targets, but only 2 successfully hit the intended objective. 1 additional strike remains disputed. Flamingo first appeared publicly in occupied Armyansk in Crimea, at an FSB border post 120 kilometers from the line of contact. The strike took place on August 31, conducted by Ukraine's defense forces. Out of at least 3 missiles launched, 1 definitely reached the target area, but it missed and fell into water near the base. Satellite imagery shows damage to a building, but it is unclear which weapon caused it, or whether it reflects the claimed power of the Flamingo. Nevertheless, this was the first confirmed case of an FP-5 missile reaching a Russian target at all and demonstrated its existence. On November 13, 2025, Ukraine's defense forces attempted to strike a combined heat and power plant in the city of Oryol, over 170 kilometers from the border. At least 4 missiles were launched, but satellite imagery showed no fresh signs of hits or damage near the facility. It appears the missiles were intercepted by Russian air defense. One likely downing of a Flamingo was captured on a video posted by the OSINT community Exilenova. The arsenal of Russia's main missile and artillery directorate in Kotlebin is of significant importance to the Russian armed forces. The facility includes reinforced bunkers for storing ammunition that are effectively out of reach of conventional UAVs. That is why the FP-5 Flamingo cruise missile was used to strike targets of this kind. On February 12, at least 6 cruise missiles were launched at the GRU arsenal from a distance of more than 500 kilometers from the line of contact. Of the 6, only 1 reached the target, striking a bunker with an area of 1,200 sqm. As a result, the ammunition began to detonate and the premises were destroyed. This was the first recorded Flamingo hit and the first strike at such depth carried out by missiles of this type. During January 2026, Ukrainian forces attacked the Cheboksary training ground, specifically Site number 105, from which missiles of the Orsnik system are launched. On January 27, at least 4 missiles were launched at the facility. Only one reached the area. However, it was either intercepted on approach or missed the target and fell near the perimeter fence of the site. The crater it left is visible in satellite imagery. We now turn to the location where the Flamingo demonstrated its best performance, the strike on a critically important facility belonging to Russia's military-industrial complex more than 1,300 kilometers from the border. The Vovkinsk plant specializes in the production of ballistic missiles, including Rs-24 Yars intercontinental ballistic missiles, as well as engines for Iskander operational and tactical missile systems. One of the 3 missiles launched struck Workshop number 22 in Building number 19, the electroplating and stamping facility, experts from the CyberBoroshno community report. A strike on a workshop of this kind may have a critical impact on the production cycle, since it is here that the basic structure of the missile casings is formed and their technological preparation for the final stages of assembly is carried out, the analysts wrote. On March 28, 2026, the Defense Forces launched at least 3 missiles at the Promsyntes plant in Chapyevsk. The facility specializes in the production of explosive components used in the manufacture of ammunition. During the attack, Ukrainian missiles were captured on video later posted by the Exilenova Plus community. Of the 3 missiles, 2 reached the facility, but neither struck the intended building, instead falling near the workshops. It is likely that the missiles were either intercepted at the last moment or struck a nearby lightning rod. The strike on Chapyevsk could have been successful. As can be seen from the available data, the FP-5 Flamingo still appears to be more of an experimental weapon than a regular strike asset. The missiles often reach their intended targets but fail to hit the required point. At last, Ukrainian FP-5 Flamingo missile struck the VNIIIR-PROGRESS plant in Cheboksary, Chuvasia. Ukraine's domestically produced cruise missiles could help deal a devastating blow to Russia's air defense production, enabling increasingly effective long-range drone strikes against other targets inside Russia. The report from the Royal United Services Institute entitled Disrupting Russian Air Defense Production, Reclaiming the Sky, identifies significant vulnerabilities in the production process of several of Moscow's most important air defense systems. Alongside stricter export controls on critical Western machinery and sanctions on raw materials used in radar production, the report calls for prioritizing strikes on critical nodes within air defense production that are vulnerable to deliberate attack. It highlights the concentration of facilities used to manufacture and assemble the Pantsir air defense system in Tula, Russia, just 350 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. The report notes that the area is heavily defended and that Ukraine's long-range strike drones have so far failed to cause significant damage, but adds that as Ukraine's stockpile of indigenous cruise missiles expands, the ability to reach and damage the relevant targets improves. The report notes that Russia uses the Pantsir system primarily for the medium-range defense of critical infrastructure against long-range strike drones, meaning that if production were significantly disrupted, these sites would become more vulnerable to Ukraine's long-range drones. Ukraine could, therefore, mount an operation to saturate the defenses on an approach to Tula before delivering a significant blow to Pantsir production with cruise missiles, ironically resulting in limiting Russia's ability to defend other targets over the course of 2026, the report says. These are but a fraction of the points of vulnerability identified in Russia's integrated air defense production, it adds. A systematic effort to exploit these vulnerabilities could have a disproportionate impact on assisting Ukraine to strike the economic backbone of the Russian war effort and reduce the barriers to NATO air power, consequently deterring future Russian aggression by denial, it says.